Hello. In this video, I would like to speak about the connection that I made with another angel, which is not mentioned in my book, The Angelic Connection. It is the Archangel of Neptune, the planet Neptune. The angel's name is ASARIEL, not to be confused with the Archangel ASARIEL of Pluto, which I hoped to make another video on in the future. But ASARIEL, Archangel of Neptune, who actually initiated contact with me, because once I'd finished the book, I thought that was my job done, and the next thing was perhaps exhibiting and, working with the products themselves, and just that life would take on another course. But actually, something rather beautiful happened on the day that the Angelic Connection was published, unbeknown to me, happened to coincide with the timing of the planet parade. Don't know, at the end of February of 2025, the planets from Mercury right through to Neptune lined up in a visible line from planet Earth for a period of a couple of days, and Neptune was one of those. And there's a lovely story for me to tell about that, actually, which I'll do in another video, the planet parade. But back to this Archangel of Neptune, ASARIEL, so that there'll be nothing in the book about this angel. So I think perhaps I'll be making a couple of videos, because actually the influence of Archangel ASARIEL is particularly strong just now, and has been for much of last year. And it's a very elusive influence, very hard to pin with the logical mind and to communicate in words. It's not going to be an easy video to make either, I think, but I will do my best. I'm wearing the colours which presented to me very early on as the angel made this connection. And this archangel, as well as being the angel of Neptune, is, for those who are familiar with the tree of life of the Kabbalah, it's the archangel over the non-sephira of Darth, which is the abyss, the angel over the abyss, the pit where the demons are, the hordes of demons, or the dark angels, and many, many layers to creation, many, many deep mysteries within God's holy mysteries. And in connection with this archangel, we are brought. I found a double thing going on, a triple thing really. The angel helps to carry you from into higher realms of light and being, the higher realms of consciousness, then in connection with God, which we can have at many, many levels of consciousness, right through to the most earthy and mundane, but then right through to our dream state, and who knows what's beyond this mortal life. But this archangel, I first met the influence of this angel in a dream, and it showed a picture of a kind of like a cubist type picture, for those familiar with the art of Picasso and such, but like a fractured image on a wall of nothing in particular, just fracturing. Actually, it was a reclining figure, and then they were fractured. And that fracturing is something that happens to the self, and not in a bad way. It's there are a few key words that I'll add onto the screen that I found described this state, and probably the key word of this state would be discombobulating, and we called it bobble-headed for short, because we really were that discombobulated. It was hard to even say the word at times. It's like the logical mind does not function very well under the influence of this angel, and it would just generate stress to try and force it to. I found that as I would wake and step into the day, I might have plans or some idea of what jobs I would like to do that day, what things would be happening, but planning doesn't work with this angel. Everything is brought right back into the moment, and very much how you feel in the moment, and being still. And if there was one phrase that I would and that I did put on the cards made of this angel, is be still and know that I am God. Because it's in the quieting of your own mind that then your intuition and your instinct and is heightened, and your awareness just steps into that realm, rather than the mental thinking mind that can so easily become divorced even from the physical, never mind from more subtle areas from which communication takes place. So within that place of a still mind, we are in a very receptive place. It's a passive state, but it's actually very potent. Like the sea, a calm sea on the top, so beautiful, and yet the depths and the power and of the unknown of what is beneath that surface, that really is the kind of conscious state that this angel governs over and brings you into. Because part of what will happen is that you are taken into your own, you begin to plunge deep into the depths of your own self. And so in a sense, I feel that there's a kind of connection with the abyss there, because down in the depths, and maybe the long forgotten depths of some of the depths of our soul, can be some things that we would rather forget, or perhaps things that we dislike about ourselves and would suppress, and qualities, or the opposite of a virtue. And I find that it's not so much I'll give another talk on some of the experiences I had to illustrate some of these things that rose up from my own personal depths, insecurities and fear and jealousy that I never knew was in me. And once it revealed itself, I thought that's I don't want to live with that. I hadn't experienced something like that before, but I was confronted with this state of jealousy at one point, and I had to deal with that, and I found the only way to deal with it was in prayer, because jealousy is connected to paranoia, and I really do feel it's like the devil is in these depths, and the demonic realm, there's nothing good there. But we have those things, we have things active within us that are not good, and they need purging. They need to come out from the depths and be brought into the light and dispersed, incinerated even. And it would be other things such as pride and cowardice and guilt, and these things, they all come up. And what is wonderful, as these things come up, not only in prayer can they be dealt with, but in just speaking on them. Perhaps like if you feel a sense of guilt about something and you'd rather not speak on it to anybody, the actual act, that as long as you feel that way, it has some kind of power over you, and it's holding you in a state of fear and darkness with regard to that specific issue that you might feel guilty about. It might be something from long ago, but in speaking on it and in just letting go of that self-judgment that we dish out, but just having the courage to own up to our own faults, and we all have them, to speak to someone that you feel able to speak to about it. It brings it out into the open, and it loses its power. You can have a laugh about it, even about our own insecurities about these things. And hopefully, if it's something that needs forgiveness, you can ask for that forgiveness. Then you've literally done all that you can do from your part of it. If you feel guilty about something, to ask for forgiveness. And that takes great humility and courage. And these are very lovely qualities. And then we are rewarded with a sense of peace, at least in ourselves, that we've cleared our own plate because we've done what we can do. If you then receive forgiveness, that's a wonderful thing. And not only that, but to be able to forgive others too. The forgiveness goes both ways, and letting go of resentments, things that you feel like people that have done something unforgivable, and you really hold that resentment, to be able to let that go. And if you find it too hard, then pray for help, because God is there. This is easier for someone who has a faith in God. I see that. But I'm sure many of us experience the nature of being forgiven, and we all know what love is. We all know what it is to feel our conscience pricking us or guiding us. We know these things, and to me, these things are God. In receiving forgiveness, forgiving yourself, owning up to things, receiving forgiveness, it lets go. It lets whatever that was has no power over you anymore, and it's gone. And we can grow. We can get past that. So there are other things. If you are familiar with the phrase the 7 deadly sins, I think it's a Catholic thing, and Dante wrote a poem or something on that. Pride, jealousy, greed, and gluttony, they kind of go hand in hand there. Lust, anger, and the kind of anger that can lead to violence, and not righteous anger, and not righteous jealousy either, because you read it in the Bible that God is a jealous God, and certainly God's anger, God's wrath will spill out at the end of all days if you believe in this. Well, there is a righteousness to anger and jealousy, but we're not talking righteous anger and jealousy here, but the kind that the devil has gotten hold of us in some way. And cowardice, sloth. I would add to these things untruthfulness and selfishness. Yes, dishonesty. They're the uglier qualities that we might well display through our own insecurity or our own fear. So in facing these demons, they really are like the demons of the deep, and facing them and not allowing them to rule over us, and appealing for help, for divine help in this when we find that too hard, so we can grow and evolve and enter into higher and lighter states of consciousness. So that is one very, very potent aspect of the influence of this angel, ASARIEL. And it is the passage, the safe passage over the abyss. In order to enter into the supernal realms, the abyss has to be safely crossed. And that can only happen when we face the darkness that needs facing. And to get past that. Now, that's all rather, I think I jumped in at the deep end there, but I'm going to come back up into the shallow beginnings of stepping into the sea, of not quite knowing what's happening in this discombobulating state, because what the things that we do know, the things that we feel, that we think we know what's going on in our day, and when all that seems to fall apart, then we're swimming and treading water, and it's a bit like that. And so beginning with this fracturing of the logical mind, so you don't really know what's going on, and just giving into that. Don't fight it, give into it. And within a day, it might be that you had a plan to do something and it's just not working out. Perhaps you're planning on making a certain meal or cake for your family, and it's just not working. You're getting all muddled up weighing out the ingredients, or you've burnt it or something like this, and it's not working. So you just stop and you think, I'll shelve that. It's not the day for that. It's not the time for that. And you'll sit and enter into a calmer state and just try and feel where you are. Just be where you are and respond to the things that are right in front of you, the need of the moment, or how you feel in that moment. And I did a lot of walking by the sea. We took the dog down to the sea maybe every morning for a while, or every other morning, because it was a wonderful place to be by water, and the sea especially. Really, well, it was a good connector, and it kind of set the tone, really. It set the way that when you do go for a walk along the beach, if you're able to, it's a real gift, because the way that your mind expands when you're walking and becomes open, you're open to, you're receptive then. Yeah, so I would recommend that if that's something that you're able to do. Yes, and so the need to be quiet and to try and listen to your inner self, and to be steered from that place. So this is something that we all need to develop anyway. Intuition is a hugely powerful force, and it often goes against what the logical and rational mind would think, would plan. Intuition can lead you to an action that seems foolish or bizarre in someone else's eyes, but honestly, to follow your intuition can be something that saves your life, and many people have witnessed and experienced that, how they just had a feeling that they acted on, an impulse that they acted on, and they were in the right place at the right time, or they escaped an unpleasant situation. And I truly believe that intuition is it's connected with the inner kingdom of God, the inner kingdom of heaven, and that this is the place where our higher self, where God speaks with us, where the angels communicate, and to receive guidance from there. And we're all going to need that. We do anyway. The world it's fractured itself, and it's a difficult world to live in. It's not a world of peace. I don't even need to go down there. You know what this world is like and what the news is like. So we have to focus upon what is helpful in our own life. And that help, if we can learn how to pick it up inwardly, like have your inner transmitter open to picking up and to move from there. It's a different way of living, perhaps, than most of us have been brought up into. I think there are peoples, tribes in certain parts of the earth that will certainly be more in tune with intuition and will have a wider consciousness to receive messages from a wider field, rather than trying to just communicate only with other human minds, and even a computer telling you the answers and what to do and making plans. And we need that intuition. And this angel is a wonderful angel to put you in the right state, to recognize that that is a state that you can. It's discombobulating at first, but it's a very potent state. And to receive the real riches of it, you're going to have to face your own inner darkness, and there will be purging, and things will be brought to the light. And if you're brave enough, and if you're willing to face it, and we're all human, and we all have things to face in ourselves. So, we don't worry about judgment from others. If they can't forgive you, or they make some judgment on you, that's them. Just do what you can to cleanse yourself, and just move forward from there and follow your intuition. That's what I would feel is the thing to impart from the lesson of walking with this angel. Now, I'll speak on some of the correspondences, if you like, but those will be personal. But certainly these colours, something very lovely that happened for me actually when I was dealing with some of those things I mentioned, jealousy and a guilt that I carried with me. Is very hard, but the jealousy especially, it was relentless for a period, and I was given another colour in a dream, which brought a softening. Once I was in the place where I really was praying for help to get rid of the ugly feeling, and try and just to rid me of that, take it, let me grow out of that and get beyond it and not be ruled by it. I was given another colour. So I will make a video of that myself in that colour, and leave you on that note of sweetness. Yeah. But it's a challenging angel that causes you to face your inner demons, but so worth it. Now, why it's timely to speak on this now is because when this angel ASARIEL made themselves known to me back in May in 2025, it was at a time when Saturn became conjunct with Neptune. And I think they conjunct in Aries, for not the exact degree, but both in Aries. And so there is another conjunction coming up. They've gone retrograde and back into Pisces, and both actually Neptune is back in Aries now, and both direct. Saturn is direct, and they're heading towards conjunction again, and this time to be on the exact same degree in Aries, which is that's going to happen quite soon. On Saturn enters Aries. Yes, it's on the 14th of February 2026 that they are at the same degree. And so that's quite soon. So I've made this video because what I never said, actually, some of the gifts that come once you enter that higher state is not just the cleansing of yourself and the fact that you have this intuitive communication amplified and sharpened, and that you're more, you don't trust that logical mind to do quite so much, but your trust begins to you trust in your intuition. That there are other lovely gifts that come, and I would say the state, an empathic state, where you really begin to feel what others are feeling. That is something that can be heightened. Also, insights that you have, either perhaps through dreams or just a knowing. And I've had this from my own experience and verified from the experiences of others, and I've known what's going on, and an insight which is affirmed and reaffirmed, and in things that people think, they know what someone else is feeling, or they know that something has happened to someone else, that kind of, and even prophetic and visionary. And I do find it interesting that it's been while working with this angel that we even began another section to our website, a new website in itself called daysofangels.com, and it focuses solely on prophecy, on prophetic dreams, and on biblical prophecy, and it does have these angel videos on it, and so yes, it's going to focus on angels, but on prophetic vision, and that came about at the same time as the connection of this angel. There's a definite open, once you begin to trust and exercise then not to exorcise the demons, but to exercise the moving with intuition, like some long forgotten machinery or something. I think we probably had it as babies and as younglings, as we grow into this world, it can be kind of conditioned out of us. But as Saturn becomes conjunct again now, and closely, they're already so close, that I feel that Saturn, the teacher, brings it's easier for us to understand a little of what's going on, because the Angel of Neptune, it's hard to clutch what's going on. It's a mystical, nebulous kind of frequency. It affects us, but try and put it in words it's very difficult, like trying to hold water in your hands. So I think Saturn gives us a kind of, it helps to put that teaching state that gives us some kind of understanding and framework to what's going on. And I'll possibly do another video on these two angels together, because it definitely creates its own state, and I'll speak again on that Days of Angels prophetic site that I feel combines both of their energies as well. Okay, so thank you for listening. I hope you found it interesting. Sorry if I've been a little discombobulated. I'm sure I have, but I do my best actually to make a connection with the angel in question before beginning these videos. I think it's important. So if you've felt a little of that, then that could be a good thing. So this is just to round up the video on Archangel ASARIEL of Neptune, the angel over the abyss. This colour change, peach, is what I would think of as the antidote, if you like, to the discombobulation, the difficulty of facing your inner darkness. It can be painful and you can feel quite negative about yourself. And it's important that we don't. Transformation, it's all about love. And this colour was given me in a dream. And so I bought a dress, a simple satin robe of this colour, because satin, the shininess seems to be related to this Archangel ASARIEL of Neptune. I dreamed of lavender satin when I first made the connection, and then again it was satin and peach-coloured satin at a time when I was really struggling with the feeling of jealousy. And I began to wear peach and I immediately felt this softening. It really was like if you could be wrapped in the state of forgiveness, of understanding, of compassion. That's what it felt like. Yeah. And so quite often, even if it was just the scarf, it's very handy to get a coloured scarf for each of the angels, and you can just sling that about yourself, and just that colour can really bring a vital assistance to the way that you're feeling, and as a reminder of the energy that as you go about your daily activities. Anyway, this was peach, and it was the colour that just dealt with the facing of the darkness and made everything okay, and just held you in a state of grace until you were through. So maybe it'll help you too. Back in the lavender and turquoise and mint green as well are all colours which are predominated with the connection with Archangel ASARIEL of Neptune, angel over the abyss. And so I forgot to say that, yes, Harry did make a painting of this Archangel, and although it's not featured on the calendar of the Days of Angels calendar that I've been sharing with you, that was made as each day of the week goes forward. This is today, Thursday, Archangel ASARIEL of Jupiter, and actually, which is the deeper violet, which is related then to this lavender, if you like, the sort of lighter version of that, and it would be the camea, the square of Jupiter that is used for making the connection with Archangel ASARIEL. So if you have the book, the procedure is written in there of how to establish or make a petition for that connection with the Archangel through drawing their sigil onto the magical square, the camea of the planet. So we have the painting that Harry made. We've had made into cards, and these cards are available to buy as a boxed set from the gallery shop of Wendrich Art House. They're advertised in there as a box of 10 cards because that was all I was setting out to do initially. I will do a separate video on this. It's the arena of Archangel ASARIEL to talk on these things. Also mugs with Archangel ASARIEL, because I find it so helpful to drink from the mug, and written on the mug are some of the key points that relate to this angel's areas of influence. I can read these from the mug so that you know what it is. Archangel ASARIEL, Angel of Neptune, and safe passage over the abyss. Dissolution of thought, simply being, receptivity, plunging the hidden depths, out of the shadows into the light, Trust in God. By grace the broken is fixed. In mercy corruption is purged. Honesty, forgiveness, humility, purification, freedom from fear and regret, gift of inspiration, visionary. These are some of the key words and influences of this angel, and to drink from the mug with those colours just helps to keep you in tune with that throughout the day. I find all these things available in the Wendrich Art House shop online. Thank you. I realised afterwards that I hadn't given much information regarding correspondences with this Archangel of Neptune and over the abyss, Archangel ASARIEL. So some of the things that, firstly, when the Archangel called to me, this connection and calling occurred through a repeating tune that was actually an Enya tune, Aldebaran, something like that. It's the name of a star, but to me the piece of music sounds like underwater music. Could be both really kind of cosmic, like the cosmically and underwater. So Enya was actually music that we put on the stereo practically the whole time that we were working and making this connection with ASARIEL and feeling the influence. And it was the only music we could really listen to. It seemed to hold the same frequency of that bit discombobulating, but learning how to move within the subconscious rather than by the conscious mind, or the two becoming merged and learning to move and make decisions from within that state, or to act from within that state, not really making a decision. The mind really wasn't involved in the same way working with this angel, but action would certainly take place. From 2 a.m. until 3 a.m. really is the time to make a connection with this Archangel. It's a peculiar time. It's always been probably my least favorite time of the day, and I think that must be intuitively have felt I must have felt that connection with those deep dark depths and where the ugliness is. That 2 a.m. there's something about that time. At 3 o'clock in the morning, that already becomes quite there's the energy shifts into Archangel Uriel and the Fae, and there's a different kind of energy, a magical time really, 3 a.m. But that 2 till 3, it's a darker waters time. You know, when we worked, when I made the connection with this angel, it was astonishing how many people got in touch with me who hadn't been in touch with me for a long time, but who had difficulties with drugs, with addiction to some things. Yeah, that was these are things of that abyss, and that things that need purging, that we need freedom from and release from, and we might need help with that. But being able to talk on it is certainly a first step. And that was, so there's another connector. So just some of the correspondences. 2 a.m. These colors: lavender, turquoise, mint, and Enya for me. Creatures came by the way of a housefly. Probably got a scientific name. The big houseflies actually came and landed on the square as I was making the connection, and then it used to always go and land on the painting in the room. There were a whole row of the paintings of angels in the room that we sit in, and it would always go and sit on that painting of Archangel ASARIEL of Neptune, until I made the connection that flies, they're related to corruption in a sense. There's a spoilage associated with flies, and swarms of flies as well, and very much these little swarms or hordes, I'm not sure of the terms for the things like beetles and lots of these smaller creatures, insect types that en masse that can do some damage. Yeah, that would be related, and also another creature very much related. As I said, I spent a lot of time walking on the beach, while jellyfish was certainly a creature related to Archangel ASARIEL. Even we have a lavender coloured jellyfish on the beaches where I live, and the jellyfish, of course, no, I don't think they all sting as badly as one another, but they can deliver quite a sting in the waters. And yes, they look kind of otherworldly, because they are of another world compared to the one that we walk around on. A lot of unusual creatures in the ocean depths. Food, I found I ate a lot of broiled fish, just fish cooked in a pan of water, and honey. I didn't notice an awful lot of correspondences, but I think you get just enough to record, so that you have some kind of sign language then going on that the angel can call you by when needed and draw your attention. I'd mentioned that I found it difficult to use the thinking, logical mind, and that plans often that they would go awry, and I would have to just be still in the moment. I've said that. So just some of the things that I did find particularly difficult when under the influence of this angel was anything on the computer, paying bills, anything that seemed to involve any sense of responsibility would cause extra anxiety than usual. So just, it's very important to just keep yourself in a calm state as best you can, and just don't when you feel stress building up, just don't let that overtake you. If you can I found at this time with this angel, I let go of many unnecessary tasks and responsibilities. I stripped the practical life down to the bare minimum. That enabled me to have this sense of space to just explore what was going on. It's a very different state to the energies of the angels over the days. And of course, while you are making the connection with an angel such as Archangel ASARIEL, with no specific day assigned to it, even though that time of the day, 2 till 3 a.m., is a very conducive time on every day of the week. And so to have a picture of the card up maybe, and or to be wearing the colours, then you've got something throughout the day, and that day will be governed by a different angel. You'll still have the influence of the Sabbath and the Sunday angels, Mondays Archangel Gabriel, Tuesdays Archangel Zamiel. But once you've made the connection with this angel, or you feel this angel calling to you through these colors, then just be aware, okay, this is the frequency that is really that I'm meant to be working with just now. So don't fight it. The color is a really wonderful communicator of the colors you feel drawn to can be very much a communicator to you, to answer that call and see what there is to be learned, to be gleaned by doing. So yes, the other angels, their influence doesn't go away, and actually can be one of the more stabilizing, grounding things to help when you feel this discombobulation coming on, and you think, it's a bit like, it can feel like you're a tower collapse, a bit of a breakdown energy, and a bit unpleasant, and when you feel like you don't know what's going on anymore, when your plans stop working. But if you can just remember what is the actual day and what is the influence of that day, and just perhaps deal with some of the more pressing things of that day, if there are any, and then just, release yourself into this energy. If it's what's going on and it's what you're being called into anyway, you'll be helped. So at least that was my experience.